We're going to keep the story in Miami. In fact, we're going to go right back down there to Mike Seidel. Mike, the mayor described the town like a ghost town, that it is relatively empty. You seen basically the same thing?
Yeah, the wind definitely ramping up now. We're right out on the cut here, and behind me is the port of Miami, and those high rises in the distance. That's Miami Beach, South Beach. We were over there earlier and took a pretty good squall. This whole area is under a mandatory evacuation, so I would suspect that just about everybody in these high rises, this is Brickell Key, right on Brickell Boulevard. I would assume and hope that just about everybody, if not everybody, is out of these high rises. The concern here is the glass on the windows and the sliding glass doors. And there's a little bridge to Brickell Key. But look at the whitecaps and the waves rolling up through here, right up into downtown Miami. And we're just on the fringe of the storm. Something else I want you to notice on the radar right now, look at what's coming at us. We have some of these outer squalls. Now, we had one this morning, and Miami International gusted to 49 miles an hour about 7:30 this morning. So as the squalls get closer, as we get closer to the hurricane tonight and tomorrow, although the worst will be over on the western side of Florida, the west coast, we're going to see hurricane-force wind gusts, and that is going to cause damage. I mean, this morning, just with those gusts, we have palm fronds blowing down everywhere here and over on Collins Avenue in South Beach. I can feel the wind at my back increasing. That's because that band of squalls is coming at us from the Atlantic. It'll cross the barrier island, Miami Beach, and they come right into downtown Miami. And we're going to be here throughout until this evening and checking back with you as these squalls hit us. And you're getting a sense of how strong the winds are and how the wind ramps up as these tropical squalls hit us. And again, this is just the fringe effects of Hurricane Irma. Everybody's hunkered down. Again, they mandatory evacuation for 680,000 residents in Zone A, B, part of C, and all the residents of mobile homes. They wanted them to get to safety because of the wind threat. Even if you're inland, you have a wind threat. So if you're home, stay safe. Stay away from the windows, hunker down, and we'll all get through this hopefully very, very safely. But again, Reynolds, we've got a long way to go, another 18 or so hours. The one thing that will change mid-afternoon tomorrow, as the storm gets north of our latitude, later tomorrow, the wind's going to go in this direction. So any surge issues, this will be underwater. That's going to be blown off. That's going to blow the water offshore. Reynolds?
All right, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Get to settle down. We're going to go down back to Miami. That's where we find Mike Seidel. Mike, a veteran of so many of these systems. Mike, I'm sure you've lost count of how many you've dealt with. Miami, a city that has certainly had a past with tropical systems, hoping that they're truly prepared for what is about to unleash over the next several hours and days.
They are, and look at what's hitting us right now. We talked about this just a few minutes ago. Here comes one of those tropical squalls. Look how the visibility is dropping behind me. Look at this. We can't even see Miami Beach or Port Miami anymore. The visibility now down to about a mile or so. And this is that tropical rain coming in. By the way, we've already had an inch of rain, and we're going to have locally as much as a foot or maybe more before this moves out tomorrow night and the sun comes back out on Monday. So now we're getting the squall coming in here. You can see on the radar we've got several out there lurking, coming in all across these barrier islands, Miami Beach up towards Bal Harbor, and eventually Broward County, Fort Lauderdale, and those areas to our north. But let me get back out in the rain so you can get a sense of how hard it's raining and blowing out here. We're probably gusting about 35 miles an hour. And I hear a jet going over. I guess maybe there's still a flight or two going in and out of Miami International. Now, you know what that is? That's not a jet. That's this wind whistling through these buildings. Look at the rain now. Look at the squall. And the rain blowing off the whitecaps here in the cut here between Brickell Key and the mainland and the Port Miami. Let me put the mic up here. Let me see if you can hear this whistle. I don't know if you can hear that, but here we go. Now we're getting into the meat of this squall. It is really raining hard. You can probably hear it pounding at my back, stinging like an Amarillo sleet storm here. Again, we're in downtown Miami, right off Brickell, the Brickell area. And boy, this wind is howling right now. And this is just one of these outer bands. Just imagine what it's going to be like after midnight tonight and tomorrow, not only here, but especially on the West Coast, where more than likely many of you are going to take the eye wall or some portion of it. Try to turn around. I think it's time to put on the glasses out here. But that wind whistling between these buildings is really, really noticeable. And if you look on the radar, this is going to last a while. So the wind just stays up in these squalls, sustained now about 25 or 30, but we're gusting over tropical storm force. They're just pounding out here. And we already saw some street flooding earlier, partially due to the king tides and also the water backing up. That's one of the reasons we're concerned about power. Now, as you know, above ground, you've got trees coming down and taking out power lines. But the problem in this area, everything is buried. But if it floods underground, that can take care of the power too. So there's no guarantee just because all the power here in Brickell and downtown Miami is underground in the financial district and these hotels and condos. That doesn't necessarily mean the power will not go out, because Florida Power Light expects that about half their customers are going to lose power. Well, let me walk out here a little bit and give you an idea. Just keep a shot on the water there. And see the wind whipping the palm trees out here. Again, what we're doing, we're looking east towards Port Miami. Miami Beach in the distance. We could see that a few minutes ago. Now it's all gone. Now it seems that the wind has backed off a little bit, but look at the white caps coming in. And remember, we're in the surge zone. We're expecting the surge here to top out as high as 10 feet. Bottom line is, we will not be here after this evening. This is going to be underwater, too dangerous, and we will be in higher ground when we come back on at first light tomorrow morning here in Miami. And of course, staying safe. If it's too dangerous, we will not leave the hotel, and we will broadcast from our hotel and look outdoors. Let's go back to Reynolds. Reynolds, back to you up in Jacksonville, where I assume you're staying fairly dry right now.
He's tossing back to me. Oh, stand by. You're going to boat our way back down to Miami. That's where we find Mike Seidel. Mike, conditions getting worse, no question, in your part of the world.
Hey, Reynolds, yeah, we've gotten a break from the squall. That was a pretty decent squall that came through here about 20 minutes ago or so. We got hit pretty hard, but now that's backed off. We just have some light rain. We're out here on the cut looking across. This is Brickell Key, and that's the road, the little causeway to Brickell Key. In the distance, that's the Rickenbacker Causeway to Virginia Key, and then over to South Beach and Miami. Wave heights are running several feet out here in the cut. We've got some white caps out here. Rainfall is light right now. In fact, we can kind of gauge the rainfall intensity by our visibility. Notice the high rises, the condos and hotels at Miami Beach. We can see those. We can see the port of Miami. We can see the cranes over there. By the way, all the cruise ships are gone. They've gone out to sea. They have left port. We thought one would stay, but they've all poured out. There were no cruise ships there this morning. As we go through this afternoon and this evening, what we're going to see, more of these squalls coming at us, and as the hurricane gets closer on Sunday, because remember, it's still moving west-northwest at 9, so physically it's not really getting any closer. But once it makes that turn, and the wind field's actually going to expand, that tropical storm force wind field, which right now is averaging about 180 miles, is going to expand in all directions. So we're going to have very strong winds, and those winds are going to get stronger after midnight tonight, and you'll probably notice the whistling, the howling sound wherever you are if you're in South Florida, and especially over on the West Coast tomorrow, as we think right now it's going to track along or just off the coast, the center of Hurricane Irma. The eye wall will likely impact many of you. We don't know exactly where it's going to make landfall because it's going to be right off the coast. It's not coming in at a right angle. And so at that point, we'll have a better idea of where the highest surge is going to be. But hurricane warnings are flying now all the way up the West Coast to Appalachia Bay and up the East Coast past Jacksonville to, that includes Fernandina Beach, right up to the Georgia-Florida line. So basically the entire peninsula and the Florida Keys under hurricane warnings. First hard hit will be the Florida Keys, Key West, Marathon, Key Largo. And remember, once it goes north of that latitude, that wind's going to come around from the south and southwest. That is going to pile the water right up against Almorada, Marathon, Key Largo, the upper Keys. Because remember, the Keys go from the northeast to the southwest. That wind's just going to pile that water up, and there's going to be a tremendous surge there in the upper and middle Keys, in addition to winds that are going to howl in excess of 100 miles an hour. Back here in Miami, there is some sigh of relief because of the track shifting west. That doesn't mean we're out of the woods. We are out of the cone, but we're still going to get a pretty good storm here with hurricane force wind gusts, power outages, storm surge, and there will probably be some inland flooding. We've got crews up and down the West Coast, Fort Myers, Naples, Bradenton, Tampa. We've also got crews in Orlando and Jacksonville. So we've got you covered from all directions for the next several days and beyond. You can always tune back to the Weather Channel. We're going to be on 24/7 throughout tonight and into the first of the week with some of the best in the business. And coverage up and down both coasts, including the East Coast. Let's go back north to Jacksonville Beach and Reynolds Wolf.
Okay, Mike, thanks so much for that.